going to give you some responses from the interviews that we had with you all, who we engaged with, on why stunting has reduced. Because it's not only the data that we can tell the story from, we can also tell it from your experiences. And here, one of the things that came out is the role of economic analysis in stunting. So some of the respondents told us that, I think another thing that perhaps for advocacy purpose was this whole idea. Ghana did the profile sometime back, which tried to translate the cost of low action into monitoring terms, and this was used for advocacy. So the whole idea of advocacy using economic analysis, and those who have worked with profiles before, this was quantifying the cost of stunting, and that was used as a basis for prioritizing stunting. Again, that advocacy process led to prioritization, which was recognized. In terms of 0 to 10, I'll say stunting is rated very high. Another said, as we have core indicators that the health sector tracks, and stunting is one of the indicators that the health sector is tracking. That's one of the things that we learned, that the health sector has really made stunting one of its core indicators that it tracks over time. And then the role of nutrition-specific interventions, and one stakeholder mentioned, yes, we work with education. Recently, a program on GIFTS, that's Girls Iron Folic Acid Tablets implementation, closely with education sector, and also deworming exercise. So mentioning the fact that interventions have been directly implemented to address the issue of stunting. Then there's also a policy focus. One stakeholder, one other key activity or event that I think would have also affected things in Ghana has to do with the writing of the first ever national nutrition policy. So when you want to achieve change, you need to have a specific policy that addresses that. And in the policy, that is one of the things that is indicated. There is also issues about the enhanced capacity. I won't read the details of that, but there were a lot of information about the fact that we have expanded the number of people who are trained in nutrition. And currently, we have at least one nutrition technical officer in every district, and it used not to be so 10 years ago. And then there's also mention of the role of champions, and I think in your keynote address you mentioned that the First Lady has been active. There was also mention of the Queen Mother of Mankasim, and when we are developing our strategic document for breastfeeding and we thought of engaging traditional leaders, she was one on whom we called on. And this is just one example of several that were mentioned. So without having to go through the details of all that, we came up with this framework of all the things that we have heard. What does it tell us about the key drivers of the stunting that has reduced? Essentially, we see advocacy is one of the key fulcrums around which this whole process started, with the International Conference on Nutrition that happened in 2014, the Scaling Up Nutrition Movement, the Decade of Nutrition, all these external advocacy events, but there were also internal advocacy events. Like in 2011, myself and my colleague here, Seth, we facilitated a regional stunting workshop in Accra, and that was one of the first things that really started driving this issue. Then there's also prioritization. I talked about the fact that some particular agencies have made stunting one of their key indicators, and the role of champions, institutional, political champions. Then there's also health sector strategic changes, including the nutrition policy. Then health sector interventions. So these are the nutrition advocacy that is going on, using evidence to inform decision making, and specifically mentioned was infant and young child feeding programs. And then there was also other interventions in cognate agencies. So these are the water and sanitation, hygiene, cash transfers, and other community mobilization activities. And then there was also mentioned the food system interventions that have also taken place that has led to reduction in hunger. So all these were part of the story of why is it that we have a reduction in stunting.